OIS.
Do we still need units on the
Greg
north
Lee,
side?
I'm grabbing his cell phone for him so we can get him out of here.
Lockland community leaders released a statement Monday saying, in part, we want to acknowledge the deep range of emotions experienced by Mr. Mumarate's family, our officers, and our community.
This video was intended to inform and educate the public.
Hello everybody, welcome once again to this video here on the Junkyard News. And in today's video news story, we have an incident coming out of Cincinnati, Ohio, where a Lockland Police Department officer had an interaction that went south with a pedestrian walking along the highway. I'd like you to picture something for me. Imagine you're a refugee here in America on a refugee status. You fled the Congo to avoid being drafted possibly in a civil war that's taking lives. A father of 6. You're walking along the highway. You don't speak a lick of English. In fact, you use an app on your phone just to communicate with the people you come in contact with. And as you're walking along the highway one evening, a police officer pulls in front of you, blocking your path, gets out of his car, and starts yelling at you in a language you do not understand, and you instinctively start to use your phone to try to communicate. But as we have seen several times in the past, having something dark in your hand while walking towards a police officer can be hazardous to your health. So what exactly happened that night that ended up costing the life of what family members are calling a man who might have just been in the wrong place at the wrong time? You see, it all started when license plate readers flagged a vehicle on the highway suspected to be a stolen car. Now, police found the vehicle and attempted to pull the vehicle over, but the vehicle fled. The initial police department that came across the vehicle discontinued the pursuit, but by that time, many different departments had joined in, and eventually they found the vehicle that may have lost control, crashed along the side of the highway. And when they approached the vehicle, no one was inside. Now, police officers did decide to cordon off the area and conduct a search and look for the suspects, and they eventually found a man and took him into custody on suspicion that he was the driver. Lockland police did detain and later arrested and charged one person in connection with the chase, according to Lockland Police Chief Michael Ott. He has declined to release that person's name and charges. But another Lockland police officer who was driving back from dropping off a prisoner at the Hamilton County Justice Center ended up spotting another man walking along northbound I-75, and over his radio asked if police were still looking for any possible suspects of the crash stolen vehicle. Other officers responded saying it's possible there are other suspects and they were still continuing the search just in case. So with the information provided by other officers, this officer decided to stop on the highway as the man was walking in his direction and have a little chat with him. Over his radio, the officer could be heard stating, "This person has something in his hands. He won't show me his hands. He's walking straight at me on 75 North." Now, Chief Ott wrote in a news release that the officer attempted to use less lethal force to address a non-compliant person, but the taser didn't stop the person. The man continued to refuse to obey commands, and then the Lockland police officer had to resort to his firearm. Unfortunately, the suspect was hit in the chest, fell to the ground, and did not survive.
No way!
Family of the individual have come out and stated that this man did not speak a lick of English. He used a phone to communicate using a translator app. As it stands right now, and up to this point, nobody is actually calling this person a suspect, and his family is stating that he was not associated with the chase. He was not associated with any criminal activity. He was merely walking along the highway, and when he attempted to use the app to communicate with the officer jumped the gun. A struggle ensued, a taser was deployed, and an officer ended up shooting and killing a man who was just out for a walk. Now, in heavily redacted body camera footage released Monday, it shows Wyoming police speaking to the Lockland officer who shot the individual. Wyoming did redact the officer's name and face from the videos that they released. No weapon can be seen in the portion of the video that was released to news agencies, nor is there any mention of a weapon. However, police say that doesn't necessarily mean that there wasn't one, and it definitely doesn't mean that the officer didn't believe there could have been one. And in all use of force cases, it's important to remember the Supreme Court's decision in Graham v. Connor, that if a police officer has an objectively reasonable belief that his or her life or others' lives are in danger, not whether the person or suspect actually poses an actual threat, that's the legal standard for determining when deadly force by police is reasonable or unreasonable, according, again, to the Supreme Court decision in Graham v. Connor. The Supreme Court also emphasized in that case, citing other cases, that the evil intentions of an officer cannot weigh in on whether or not the force was justified or not. You can literally have a police officer during a chase caught on video and audio stating something like, "Oh, I can't wait to beat this man with my bare hands," or a canine officer saying, "I'm going to let my dog chew his nuts off." That might play a role in a criminal prosecution against an officer, but as far as a lawsuit goes, a court cannot weigh those statements in determining whether use of force and what happened eventually was justified or not. Yes, you can literally have a police officer caught on audio and video before a use of force incident, admitting that they were about to pummel or punish or even possibly kill somebody, and yet if they do what they say they're going to do, i.e. evil intent, when it comes to a lawsuit, that has no bearing on whether force was justified or not. Again, on a criminal side, it could, but as far as a lawsuit, it plays no role. The only thing a court can look at in a case like this is at the moment the force is applied, does the police officer have an objectively reasonable belief that his or her life or other lives are in danger, not whether the person or the suspect actually poses a threat. And the family says, although we know police were involved in a high-speed chase in the same area, we have received no information that our father was involved in any aspect of that chase. We believe he may have been an innocent bystander. So once again, it seems like we have an officer who chose a profession that is scary, went through training that teaches officers to fear everyone and everybody, stopping a man on the highway to talk to him, seeing something dark, most likely a cell phone, in the man's hand, and putting one into his chest. We'll just have to wait and see how this plays out. Thank you again for watching this video here on the Junkyard News. Be careful, people. I keep saying it every video. You never know when the next interaction you have with a law enforcement officer ends up with you being highlighted in a story on this channel. Thank you again and stay safe.
Videos uploaded by the Junkyard News are helped in part by viewers just like you. You can show your support for this channel by clicking the thumbs up, sharing our videos, or hitting that all-important support button on our channel page. Don't want to miss a video or a story? Make sure to check us out and like us on Facebook at The Junkyard News.